امسك
امسك
يا
يا
رب
رب ايدي زي بطرس زمان.
لما قرب يغرق مسكت ايدي بحنان ورفعته وسط الموج واديته سلام وامان، ورفعته وسط الموج واديته سلام وامان. وانا زيه يا ربي امسك ايدي كمان، وانا زيه يا ربي امسك ايدي كمان. الموج عليا عالي يخطف قلبي مني، والريح يا ربي شديدة وخايف نفسي تخني، والمركب طالع نازل وصخور بتحطمني، والمركب طالع نازل وصخور بتحطمني. قول للموج يهدى وفي سطرك احضني، قول للموج يهدى وفي صدرك احضني. ادخل يا رب سفينتي واملك حياتي تمام، واطرد مني الخوف داوي كل الآلام. اسكن جوا قلبي واملاه بالسلام، اسكن جوا قلبي واملاه بالسلام. ابدا ما تسيبني لوحدي امشي وسط الايام، ابدا ما تسيبني لوحدي امشي وسط الايام. ايماني يا رب ضعيف شددني في الايمان، ان يوم انا شكت فيك او تهت في اي مكان. ده انت يا ربي ابويا قلبك كله حنان، ده انت يا ربي ابويا قلبك كله حنان. رجعني تاني ليك اعيش طول الزمان، رجعني تاني ليك اعيش طول الزمان. وفي الأبدية يا ربي أتمنى أكون معاك، لك مكان علشان أكون وياك. مهما كانت ضعفاتي مالي يا رب سواك، مهما كانت ضعفاتي مالي يا رب سواك. انت تستر عليا وتفرحني برؤياك، انت تستر عليا وتفرحني برؤياك.
Got it. Thank you. You hear me? Hello, hello. In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, one God, amen. So some of you already opened this. If you can open your camera and go to this link. هنبتدي بامتحان كده. But try to answer as honest as you can. You're the only one who's going to see the result. I'm not going to check for you. Don't worry. You sure? Let's see. make sure you submit the test. So let's do about, how long, like 5 minutes? Did it take 5 minutes? Yeah? Okay. Can you see this? This will make more sense if you do the test. Otherwise, yeah. Yep. Just open the, take your camera, and then, yep, perfect. And then answer as best as you can. I'm not going to look at your answers, so just for you.
احنا بنجاوب الايديال ولا بنجاوب اللي احنا بنعمله؟
اللي احنا بنعمله. Can somebody translate? Oh.
أول سؤال بيقول لو التشايلد بتاعك عنده تنتروم، يعني حالة من الغضب أو بيصرخ عشان حاجة، usually أنت بتديله what he wants؟ agree ولا disagree ولا؟ yeah. number 2، أنا مش بسمح لطفلي إن هو interrupt me، إن هو يعني يقاطعني في الكلام وأنا بتكلم. disagree ولا agree؟ agree نص نص. number 3، مش دايما my child بيجي whatever he wants، يعني مش دايما بديله كل حاجة هو عايزها. agree ولا disagree؟ رقم 4، أنا حاسة بثقة لما بعمل رولز كده لاولادي agree ولا disagree؟ يعني لما بحط قواعد لاولادي بحس بثقه كده وانا بعمل كده، انت موافقه ولا مش موافقه ولا نص نص؟
هي الدكتوره بتقول ان احنا عايزين نحط اللي احنا بنعمله، مش احنا موافقين عليه ولا لا. يعني احنا اللي ازاي بنسلك في البيت، هل بنوافقهم على ده ولا ما بنوافقش؟ حتى لو كان غلط هنقول ان احنا بنعمل غلط يعني.
رقم 5 بيقول لك ان انت you have مثلا بتشجعيهم لما بس بيعملوا their best، ولا بيعملوا حاجة كويسة بتشجعيهم بس لما بيعملوا حاجة كويسة بس، ولا agree ولا disagree؟ ستة، في حدود للسكرين تايم، للوقت الشاشة، انتوا حاطين حدود للشاشة، agree ولا disagree؟ لوقت التلفزيون، للتابلت، للاكس بوكس. رقم 8، انت عارفة كل اسماء اولادك؟ 7 فوتنا 7. عايزة الطفل يتكلم to speak up if they لو هم عندهم أي question about my rules، عندهم أي question على الرولز اللي أنا حطاهم، عايزاهم ي speak up ولا لا يعني؟ تمانية، تعرفوا أسماء معظم أسماء الفريند بتوع أصحاب الفريندز بتوع أولادكم ولا لأ؟ هو بيقول most، يعني عارفين معظم أصحابهم أسماء أصحابهم ولا لأ؟ رقم 9،
في الآخر كل واحد هياخد درجة يا جماعة.
رقم 9، أنا بشرح لأولادي ليه أنا حاطة القواعد دي في البيت ولا ما بشرحش، بحط قواعد كده من غير شرح؟ رقم 10، أنا بثق في أولادي لما بيعملوا اختيارات صحيحة من غير مساعدة مني. رقم 11، أنا حاسة إن أنا مرتاحة وأنا بقول لأ لأطفالي. رقم 12، لما بعاقب طفلي بعاقبه فعلا، يعني بصمم وبعاقبه ولا لا، يعني I follow ان انا البانشمنت ولا لا؟
يعني بنفذ اعملي اللي انت بتعمليه. يا جماعة كل واحد يبص في ورقته، ما حدش يبص في ورقة اللي جنبه.
طيب 13. انا مش بدي اولادي زي منحة او رشوة علشان يعملوا اللي انا عايزاه. طب اعملي. يعني تديهم فلوس، تجيب لهم هدية، حاجات زي كده عشان ترشيهم يعني. رقم 14 بيقول لك ان هو مهم ان انت تحط رولز، حدود، باوندريز للكيدز بتوعك. يعني مهم ان انت تحطي حدود لاطفالك. رقم 15 بيقول لك ان مفيش حاجة مهمة مفيش اهم من سعادة اولادي. رقم 16 انا مامة طفلي مش مامة اصحاب اطفالي. لا not their انا ماما مش yes I'm my child parent not their friend. انا بابا وماما مش صاحبتهم، يعني I'm not their friend. سبعتاشر بشجع اطفالي ان هم يكتشفوا نفسهم او يعبروا عن نفسهم من خلال ان هم ممكن ما يبقوش متفقين معايا، يعني يعبروا عن نفسهم حتى لو كان رأيهم ده او تعبيرهم عن نفسهم ده ضدي، انا مش متفق معايا.
يعني بديهم فرصة يعبروا عن نفسهم.
18 بتكلم مع اطفالي على العواقب بتاعت افعالهم ولا لا لسه 19 19 discipline discipline ان هو يبقى مسؤول، صح؟ ان انت تخليه لو انا ربيت ابني بحزم تو ماتش، يعني بحزم شديد، مش هيحبوني. they won't like me. رقم 20 مهم ان انت تعرفي اولادك ان هم يبقوا مسؤولين independable، يبقوا مستقلين ومسؤولين ولا لا؟
When you get to the bottom, it says zip code. Put your zip code in, and then score test. It's a blue box. And then push submit, and then you'll get an answer. That's just for you, okay? If you're just coming in, we're doing this parenting style, discipline style test. You can just use your camera and scan the code, and then you can answer, I think there are 20 questions, and then you submit the score test at the end. So did you guys get a answer to your test? Everyone got a little square and it said where you are. Everybody finished? You got a score? It tells you where you are? Okay. So based on that, based on your test, there are 4 main parenting styles, 4 main disciplinary styles. Hatta if you're a khadim and you're not married and you don't have children, there's a style that you discipline. There's a style that you teach in your classroom, right? So it applies to us all. So what are the 4 main ones? We have permissive. Irini will translate. We have permissive, authoritative, neglectful, and authoritarian. And the ones on the right, they sound the same, but they're a little different in the style. So we're going to talk about that. If you're just coming in, you can take the test if you would like to take the test. It'll help to keep along in the topic. So let's talk about each one specifically, okay? Let's go with the first one, permissive. Permissive means the child is in control. The child is the boss. They're driving you, okay? They're driving and you're in the back seat. What they scream, you answer. They yell, you answer. Anything that they do, you respond so quickly that they know, if I do this, mom's going to give me what I want. بابا هيعمل اللي أنا عاوزه. هما بيتكسفوا من السرير فحصرخ. هيتكسفوا هيكنوا, right? So you respond quickly to your child's emotions or behaviors, and then they end up getting what they want. So they're in control. What could be the problem there? Yeah, what could the consequences to the child being in control? Because there's no rules, right? If you give them rules, بيصرخ بتنسى الrules.
Yeah,
right?
I think that he will end up irresponsible. He think that whatever he wants will end up in the right direction. Like I will get eventually what I want.
Yes.
I will grow up think that the whole world looks like how mommy and daddy work.
Exactly.
Yes.
Because when they're little, mom and dad are the whole world. They represent the whole world. And if mom and dad react this way, then the child's going to think that the whole world's going to give to them. So what kind of adult do they become?
Not a good one, I guess.
We have some of them in our community, right? They are very loud. We're scared of them. They get what they want, right? But the world does not always listen to your loud noise. So what's going to happen if this person doesn't know how to hear no? If this child gets whatever they like, are they satisfying themselves ever? Is there satisfaction? So what kind of mental health problems can this lead to? Frustration, depression, anxiety, mood problems, aggression, anger problems. They're not healthy adults. So are we doing our children any favor when they're running around أنا خايفة صوته هيعمل ما أعرفش إيه? Are we doing them any favor by okay هسكته فهديله التليفون هو عاوز التليفون, right? Even if they're 2 years old, they learned that if I scream loud enough, ماما هتديلي التليفون عشان أقعد ساكت, right? Is that what's important? That they stay quiet? What's important? To learn what? Teaching them what? To push through the frustration. We need to teach them to tolerate the feeling of anger. That it's okay, I understand you're angry, but this is the right thing to do. I know you're upset right now, so we're showing them that we understand the feeling. We're putting a label on the feeling, but we have to learn how to sit quiet. But in the church, we have to do this. First you do your homework, then you can play the video game. And they have to learn to sit with the uncomfortable feeling of disappointment, okay? If we rob them from that moment of learning, then we develop unhealthy adults who have unhealthy marriages, who will have unhealthy children from generation to generation, right? So it is in our child's best interest and your grandchildren's best interest to teach them to tolerate the frustration, to tolerate not getting what I want, to tolerate the disappointment, to tolerate that feeling, okay? So that's the permissive parenting. They respond too much to the child and there's no rules. If there are rules, we really don't follow the rules. Okay? So this is a little different from neglectful. So we're going to talk a little bit about the bottom, neglectful. What do you think the neglectful parent is? So this is the parent that is not really around. This can look like I'm busy all the time at work. I take weekend shifts, I take night shifts, I take morning shifts. I'm not around, I'm busy. I'm flying. Any opportunity that I can be in church to serve is better than being at home to serve. This can look like, it could look like in many ways, but I'm not present. I'm not there. Okay? So if I'm there, it's like, hi, bye, I'm on the phone, I'm busy doing something, I gotta cook, I gotta clean, مش فاضي. I'm not here for you. So what is the message we're sending to the child? You're not important. What else? He's not with us. Even if he's with us, he's not. I'm not important. So how is this child going, what kind of adult does this look like? You start to have that relationship problem. And then sometimes they want to have a relationship with the adult child, but there's no connection. Yes.
Putting instruction. The main problem is that we are putting instruction without discussing it with them. We need to discuss why we are putting these rules before putting the rules. We are just saying, no, you will not do this point. We need to say, we will go to the church. So you need 1, 2, 3, 4. And give him the time to discuss it why. No, I don't agree. Why you don't agree? This is the main problem with all the parents. They say, no, don't talk in the church. Why? And if yeah, why? I will tell him because you need to pray. He don't understand this stuff. So I have to keep him busy, but wisely. Because we are giving them some books with colors. They don't listen to anything. Oh yeah, it's good, but a book with color, picture, but some words, something related to the church. Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that because do you guys remember the last time I was talking with you, we talked about how to set rules? Do you remember what did we say? There's attention problems and there's control problems. If there's an attention problem, we said, what are they trying to do? Do you remember? So they're trying to get your attention. They don't know right from wrong, or they don't care. Those are attention problems, right? The control problem is they're in a battle with you, and the way we avoid a conflict of that nature is we set rules, but there's a couple of helpful tips, right? We have to talk about it first. We have to explain. It has to be age appropriate. It has to be related to the situation that they're in, right? And the consequence you have to follow through. So this talk is based on that lesson, okay? So now that we know this, we're looking at what we're actually doing. So I'm glad you brought that up because
the most important is that you sit on his level when you're talking.
Yes.
Don't sit there.
Eye to eye.
Yeah. Just on his level and talk his vocabulary. Don't talk any other vocabulary. Just look at him and make the environment before sitting and talking. Yeah. He already has his food, he has his can, he has everything, and we'll talk for maximum 10 minutes. We are not making a lecture.
It's not a lecture.
No. Say don't.
I'll give him a lecture. Absolutely. Thank you. Yes. So, what kind of adult are we raising here? Yes.
With neglecting, you're not important. I think he will seek love and care from anyone, anywhere. Not the good ones.
Yeah. Big problem,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because then you have 17, 18, 19-year-old young ladies and boys who are looking for love in the wrong relationships, right? Or looking for some way to fill an emotional void in an unhealthy way, right? So again, a lot of mental health related issues, depression, anxiety, anger related problems, right? So we have to be careful that we're not too permissive, like the top one, the child is in control, and at the same time we're not like, okay, do what you want, I'm not here, I'm too stressed out, I don't have the time, I'm busy, I'm serving in the church, I have 5 different services, Abuna is not letting me off the hook. No, your first priority is serving your house, and then you serve in the church, right? All right, so let's talk about authoritarian. Any questions so far? So if you notice on the left side, we have you're responding to the child going this way, and you're not responding at all on the bottom. And then on the bottom arrow, it's the demanding. So the bottom left, neglectful, it doesn't demand, doesn't respond. The one on the very right is too demanding. So let's look at authoritarian. So this is parent-driven. I think a lot of us fit into this topic, into this square. So if you're an authoritarian parent, I'm the parent, it's my rules, it's my house, it's my way, محدش يكلم. That's it. You're very strict in the punishment, right? There's no discussion about the rules. This is the way it is. عشان أنا الأب، أنا الراجل، أنا الأم، أنا ست البيت. That's it. أنا كلامي آخر حاجة. Okay? Well, we're going to talk about that. When you talk, you don't talk with consideration to your child's feelings or what the situation is or what they're going through. It doesn't matter what they're going through. The only thing that matters is that they follow the rules. Do you see the difference there? Okay? So as long as they make you look good, بيسمعوا كلام ومحترمين, that's all that's important. What happens here? No, this we're talking about all the time. In this square, all the time. It's parent-driven. So the other square was child-driven completely. This one is parent-driven completely. So why? What's wrong with it? هتطفشوهم. Yeah. It's a dictator. Yes. Yes. Yeah. So you mentioned they're going to leave. They're going to run away. Are you creating a loving home, a happy home? They want to come home after school? No, they have soccer. They have to go to work. They're going to start finding, you remember the neglectful parent that was looking for ways to escape the house? The child in this situation is going to look for ways to leave the house. They're going to get busy with work, busy with school, busy with service, أي حاجة. بس أروح بالليل أكل وأنام. I don't want to have a conversation. I don't want to talk. I don't want to do anything. What kind of relationship do you have with your child? Egyptian relationship. Thank you for your honesty. Yeah, and then you have children, guess what? Maybe that works in some areas of Egypt. But does that work here? Because what happens when they turn 18? The law is not in your favor. ما فيش حاجة اسمها أنت تقعد في البيت لغاية ما تتجوز. Here, what happens? You end up having kids who leave the house, who leave the state. Maybe they go away for college if they put their energy into success. Maybe they go further away for college just to be a little bit further away. But they start to look for ways to escape the house. And sometimes as children or as teenagers, they listen to you when you're right there. But guess what they learn to do when you're not around? They learn to find ways around it, right? Especially if they are just like you. and they like the control. They're going to look for ways to control their world behind your back. Let me see how I can get away with it. Okay, in front of Baba أنا واقف هنا في أول دكة في الكنيسة, right? When Dad's not around, I explore ways I can get away with it. So what are we teaching? To lie, to escape. There's no loving. Did I learn how to love? Was I loved? Did I feel loved growing up? You're raising insecure children who will try to find manipulative ways to get what they want. This is one of the most dangerous personalities you can raise, because this is a personality that's considered of the narcissistic type, the type اللي أنا صح في كل حاجة أنا عمري ما غلط. Well, what happens if you have that mentality? Are you going to confess and repent and change your ways spiritually? No. So this is one of the most dangerous things that we can set our children up for, because then their spiritual life is affected. Okay? So be careful in this regard. I would say the parent is probably spiritually impacted as well. I'm sorry? They think it works, but it's not working in Egypt either. Okay, so why are we doing it? What is Mu'taz? I'm Mac, but I have no idea what we're talking about. I'm sorry, he's hesitate. Yes, yeah. Well, these are. Let me tell you, you moved the whole room with one word. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah, well, these are, so if you're a parent like this, you are scared. You're operating from fear. You're, right? So, انت خايف that your children are going to go wrong because it's an insecurity on yourself. So you want to control everything. But you put that same seed in your children. And then you have children who are going to have anxiety problems and depression, عشان they were controlled and like مخنوقين, right? So it's not a healthy parenting style by any means. It's very dangerous. All of them are not very healthy styles at all. But Besim, you asked, well, you got to have some form of this. That's where the last one comes in. Okay? So remember, I said these arrows. From the bottom, you're not responding and you don't demand. أنا مش عايزة حاجة منكم وسيبوني في حالي. That's not healthy. The one to the top, permissive, the child is controlling everything, so I'm giving them everything. That's not healthy either. The one on the bottom, I'm not responding to you, you respond to me. That's not a healthy parent-child relationship. Now at the top, right, that's authoritative. We have a partnership. I'm going to respond, and I'm also going to demand. It's a partnership. We're going to have some rules. We're going to set some things. There's got to be order. We have expectations. This is what happens if you do this. This is what happens if you choose this. Do we agree? Is this fair? We have discussions. We have a relationship. There's love. The child feels they're important in the decision making. The child feels they're heard. The child feels mom and dad are here for me. If I mess up, it's okay. There's a consequence, but I know my parents are there to help me, not just leave me. أنا مش هكلمك تاني عشان أنا أصلاً أنا مش أبوك ولا أعرفك. That's it. شوف لك حد تاني. Right? So do you see the difference? Yes. Go for it. Do you have the microphone?
عايزة أقول حاجة على موضوع أصل هي family يعني هقول the big family leads to another family. If I group my kid up as he's always right هيبقى husband who thinks إن هو he's always right. فده will lead us to more problems بعد كده in my child's يعني family بقى. بالظبط هتبقى دي الفكرة بتاعت مصر إن it leads من generation لgeneration. فدلوقتي if we stop it here هنبقى بنعمل الجنريشن following generation اللي هو ما يحسش ان انا I'm always right. هيبقى نفس الراجل اللي في البيت I am always right. My wife is not, my kids are not. بالنسبة لل other type yes everyone yes I know more أنا عارف كل حاجة. Yeah I know better than everyone else. التايب اللي هو the fourth one you're talking about دلوقتي عايزة أقول حاجة وهوفلي أكون أنا I understand it right. بالرغم من إن في rules و it's two ways discussion وفي وبنتكلم بس ده مش معناه إن مفيش bumps صح؟ معناه مش yes معناه إن في sometimes هيبقى في mistakes وفي up and down وهنقعد ونتكلم قصدي مش معناها إن الدنيا وردي فهوفلي أكون فاهمة صح.
No, but you can avoid a lot of problems and conflicts through this parenting style. But this goes back to the last talk we had, where we tried to figure out why the child is behaving that way. If it's a continuous problem, are they trying to get my attention? Maybe I'm not responding. Maybe I was planning a retreat or summer camp and I've been so busy in this moment that my child's behavior is screaming for attention. I need to reflect and I need to figure out what I've been doing wrong. Talk to them. What's wrong, حبيبي؟ ليه بنقعد نعمل كده؟ الteacher قاعدة تكلمني every day. What's going on? You kind of start to find out. Maybe they're being bullied in school. Maybe they want your attention, right? It's a conversation. But the parent that's always right, اتعدل. If I got one more call from the teacher, it's your you don't understand what's going on with your child. You just care that the teacher stops calling or that the behavior stops. But you're not fixing the root of the problem. And again, it goes back to setting our consequences for our actions. Like we have rules in our house. If you, like we were talking about screen time last time, if you remember, and we were talking about if we have a rule in our house that you only get 3 hours of screen time, it's after your homework, the phone is not charging in your room, and the phone has to be charged in the hallway with everybody else's phone at night. There's no phones in the room. If you're on your phone, your door is open. Why? You don't trust me? I trust you, fine. I don't trust the phone. So everything, if you can't follow the rules, you're not ready for a phone. مش نديلهم التليفون وبعدين we find problems and then we have to do damage control. We have to be proactive with our parenting. We have to think ahead. And so we have rules, agreements, you agree? Everybody agrees? Okay, we have a deal. كده they want to invest in the rules because they got what they wanted and they want to keep it and they know mom is going to follow through. مش okay هزعق وأقول لها it's not fair, I don't like you anymore. Okay حبيبي معلش, I'm sorry. لا. What did we teach them? Right? So the conscious parent, the parent who is what I call kingdom oriented, what's the point of parenting, Yani? What do you want your kids to do? Just listen to you, خلاص? Like what's the point? Yeah. You want a robot? Yeah, okay. Thank you for your honesty. Why do we have children? What are we doing with what do we hope? We want them to kingdom oriented, right? So if we are focused on the kingdom, we have to get them to think about the kingdom. Everything we do is to get us at the kingdom, which means it starts with me first. I can't be all talk and no play. So I can't be on my phone 6 hours a day. وأقول للعيل حط your phone away. It doesn't work that way, right? As servants, I can't tell the kids, settle down, stop screaming, and I'm yelling. It doesn't work that way, right? So we model the behavior that we want our kids to see, right? Does that make sense? That's all I have for you guys today. So it's a short and quick, thank you. But if you want to discuss anything, it's open.
I can start. عندي سؤال.
Yeah.
الدسكشن اللي رايحة جاية it grows مع الولاد they grow الدسكشن نفسها it grows ان احنا في elementary يبقى في discussion بنكبر شوية الدسكشن أكبر أو يعني we talk about حاجات تانية so it grows مع الage ومع العلاقة اللي بينا بس if we discuss a lot of things مش عايزة أقول everything ازاي نعرف نفرق بين انها توصل لمرحلة lecturing ان my kid knows ان انا اول ما هبتدي اتكلم you're giving a lecture بس احنا عايزين نتناقش يعني شايفة ان في حاجة مش ماشية في الرايت واي عايزين نفكس it ونفكس اول باول ونقول ده صح وده غلط or that should happen that way او ده لا بس مش عايزاه يوصل لاحساس انه قافل الباب من ناحيتي لان انا every time we're gonna talk I'm gonna lecture him فقولي لي ازاي الفرق بين الاثنين ان احنا ما نبقاش lecturers ندسكس بطريقه هم يحبوها وتبقى two ways كده رايحه جايه and they enjoy it فنوصل اللي احنا عايزينه واحنا لقمه كده بلقم يعني thank you
Before I answer the question, I'm going to say, look at your test results and decide if you scored where you want to be. Okay? Now that you know what this means, did your answers give you what you were hoping to see? If not, your homework is to go home and figure out a plan to change that. What do I need to change in my life? Where can I do differently? Where can I grow? Number 2, does anyone want to answer Yvonne before I do?
I think it's the problem is the way. I don't have to tell him, let's come and sit, we need to discuss 1, 2, 3. Maybe with a little kids, but I doubt even. Maybe we'll go for walking, we'll just open some stuff, even with kids, as kids دول احنا بنتكلم من سن كام kids. I doubt إن ولد في يعني بس ممكن يقول لي هو عنده different age. Their age they are not kids anymore. So you can make a conversation with them. So if you can just tell them, come, sit, we need to discuss this point. It will not work. So we need to just think how to open this discussion in the right time with the right vocabulary. But before we have to have a communication or connection or a base. If you are not talking to your child, you don't discuss any and everything. Don't expect that you will have any response from them. Yeah, they are just sitting until you finish dinner, and she is just dreaming. So.
I think it depends on the age. 98% of the time, you don't need to correct something right now. 98% of the time. I would say the other 2%, it's like an emergency. الولا هيعور نفسه ولا هيضرب حد, or you got to grab something for safety, right? But 98% of the time, it can wait till you are calm. You think about a way to open it up, and then you can address it. And then they're going to be more listening to you. If your child is young and they're hungry and they're tired and you're giving them a lecture, I mean, I'm sorry, if you're talking to your husband who's tired and hungry and you're going to give him a lecture, it's not going to work either. So it's definitely not going to work with a child, okay? It's not going to work with me. But we always have to pick the right time. Timing is important. Sometimes, when my kids were little, I used Disney movies as examples of ways we can teach lessons. So we call them teachable moments. I don't have to wait for them to make a mistake and then correct them. I can find other mistakes in the world and have a discussion. So whenever there was, the Lion King, and we're watching the Lion King together, it's like, oh, شفت Simba عمل إيه? What do you think of Simba, right? And that brings me to the second point. Well, we're talking about the little kids, right? With the older ones, as they get older, you don't want to repeat yourself. They know these things. You want to test their knowledge, not repeat the discipline or the lesson.
Just
You
take
want to
their
test.
opinion.
So ask questions. Ask, what do you think about this? What happened today? What was going on today? You didn't seem like yourself. What do you think of your friend when she did X, Y, and Z? So asking them questions will reveal whether they learned the original lesson or not and how they apply it in their lives. Sometimes my kids will come home with problems and I'm ready to give them all this advice, and all they want to do is just talk about it. They don't want my advice. They don't want any input, right? And so when I realize they're not looking for advice and I say, so what did you do? They're like, I don't know. I'm just going to wait because right now X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, that's a wise decision. I think you're doing the right thing. That's very good. Let me know if you need me or how it goes. And then a week later, hey, did you ever talk to your friend so-and-so? How did it go? And it's a conversation. You're guiding them. You're coaching them. If you think about like soccer or basketball, you're coaching. You're giving them plans, and then they go out there and they try to do it, and maybe they didn't do the right play. Maybe they got the goal in the wrong section, right? But we have two options. When they come back, okay, next time I want you to watch out for X, Y, and Z, and then you give them a chance to go back again. Not make them feel like that's it. You did wrong, you sit in the bench for the rest of the game. You can't go back out there. Like, fashion, that's it. No, we want to encourage, we want to build them up, we want to give them advice, and then we send them out to test it, and then we encourage them when we're there.
الأستاذ هنا لما بيقول لما احنا أساسا ما تربيناش بالطريقة دي ف how to fix it بقى.
احنا لازم نتعلم يا جماعه، احنا بنتعلم من اللي حوالينا، من اللي بنسمعه، من الانترنت.
It's right? So you're doing.
So, a lot of family, they came here, and the kids like 16, 18 years old. And واحد اثنين ثلاثة أربعة. So, how he going to work in a child 16, 18 years old? And the dad's almost 50 years old, let's say 50. 52. How he's going to, you're talking about, how old are let's say Atif came today from Egypt. Let's say, I'm sorry, I'm gonna give you an example. Okay, let's say whatever, anybody came here as 50 years old, he have a child, 18 years old, and you ask him to go update himself, or you have to fix himself. It's hard sometimes, you know what I'm saying?
I agree with you that it's difficult, but it's not impossible, and that's a choice.
Yeah.
I have family that moved here, and one decided, I'm my age, there's nothing I can do, and I get it. That's it. Okay, that's the choice that you made, but then everything that happens is because of the choice you just made. Then I have other family who's like, no, I have to learn English because I don't want my kids to teach me English. I need to know. I need to be able to help them. I'm the parent. I should not rely on my kids to translate the bill for me or the lesson or something. Like, I have to better myself. I have to try. It's hard. It's embarrassing. I get all of that, but I think it comes down to a choice. What do you choose to do? You chose to come here today. there's other people that were in church today that decided it's not what they want to do. That's their choice. No one's going to force you to change. It has to be a decision that you want to do. It has to be something that you can say, I don't like the result that I have. And the only way to change that is to do things differently. Is it hard? Absolutely. Is it impossible? Nothing's impossible with God. Nothing's impossible. So I think that's a good point that you made.
I have a different question.
Uh-oh.
So is the rules, they have to be the same for all the child, or it could be different from each one?
So I would say be careful with that because it depends on the situation. If it's because their age is different, yeah, that
Plus-
makes sense, right? The
plus,
older
I'm
one
sorry,
can maybe have a little more.
Sometimes, whatever is work for the girls, it doesn't work for the boys.
You got to be careful with that because you're not in Egypt.
I know, no.
And
No, I'm not saying like, no.
girls here أحسن من 100
Yes,
راجل.
I do
Trust
agree.
me.
I agree with that. I agree, but
We're going to have a personal problem now.
215 غلط.
Oh, just joke. Go ahead.
أنا كأب have two girls. يعني sometimes the girl is close to date more than the mom.
Closer to that, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what I said. Sometimes
Yeah.
it have to be different a little bit.
Well, how you treat the two girls,
Uh-huh.
it depends on their age. So let's say, one is 10 and one is 15. One can do things a little bit longer, like she can stay up until 10 o'clock, but the 10-year-old needs to go to bed at 8:30 or 9 o'clock, right? The rules can't be the same because they're not the same age, their thinking is not the same, their development is not the same, so the privileges might not be the same. But the rules that when she was her age, this was the rule. In my house, you don't get a phone until you're this age. You don't wear makeup until you're this age. If I break the rules, then we're going to have a different problem. That means the rules were flexible to begin with. So you just have to be careful. And then if it's, let's say the boy and the girl are the same age, but the boy's allowed to do this, but the girl is not, I mean, you need to have a really good reason why, because then it's just not fair. And from the last, you may not have been here at the last conversation, but the rules need to be fair. If the child sees that you're not fair, then you're just a mean parent who wants to make them feel bad and take away their freedom and their fun. We want them to love you. We want them to respect the rules, respect you, and to honor and follow them, right? Not just to think like, oh, you're so unfair, because it doesn't make sense.
So if you have one of your child, he's diagnosed for something like ADHD or autism, and for sure his rules, it will be a different.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the other two child, it might be feel is not fair. How you make it work for all three? You got it?
I hear you. I think we can talk specifics. Like basic things should be the same. Basic things should be the same. But maybe, like for children who have ADHD, they're more impulsive. They're still learning. So you need to have a conversation with both children so they understand that this is a little different.
It's super sensitive. Like if you put a lot of rules, they cries a lot.
That's okay. Again, that goes back to the other one. Are you responding to the screaming and the crying? We have to still teach them to tolerate the frustration. Children with ADHD have less frustration to begin with. Like they have less tolerance, for frustration. Like أي حاجة ممكن تضايقهم أكتر. So we have to teach them how to expand their tolerance for disappointments and frustrations. So again, don't respond to the crying and the screaming, but the rule is the rule. They have to sit with it. Habibi malish, you have to learn that this is the right way. This is what we're doing. Remember, we talked about the rules. This is why. I'm going to give you another chance to do it again, but right now, this is what we decided was the consequence. And that's it. But don't respond to the crying and the screaming. Does that answer your question? Yeah.
قدام مدارس الأحد بيحاولوا إن هم برضو to redirect behaviors معينة لو حصلت وإحنا شايفينها. هل برضو بننتظر ال good timing نعمل مثلا درس على ده نخليها، ولا نقدر نcorrect it one by one؟ هفترض إنه كان بيجري في الكنيسة و he should not run، فلما بيجي لي الكلاس ايه بالظبط الايديال؟ هل نويت and make a lesson بعد كده على ما نجريش في الكنيسة، ولا نبتدي نصلح جزء جزء which we usually do؟ علشان كده الولاد احنا عايزينهم يحبوا الكنيسة، ما يبقاش يوم الأحد لا انا مش عايزة اروح. ما هو في نفس ايدية اللكتشرينج، ما هو انا باخد لكتشر كل مرة ان انا بجري او بعمل او الكلام.
When there's kids screaming and does he yell? What does Abuna Samuel do? أنا هتكلم على أبونا ساميول، ماليش دعوة ب any other أبونا's.
They stop تقريبا.
He stops. Does he yell? Does he correct? Does he point out the child? He doesn't know who is behind him. He just stops and he lets the parent take over, right? And so I think to me that's a way to stop myself from making a mistake. Let me think, let me calm. Like, we don't want to humiliate the families, we don't want to humiliate the parent. And sometimes, the kid is fine, but they just need a second to get themselves together, and by the time you walk down the aisle, it's still going, right?
هو احنا مش بنكوركت مش قصدي ان احنا هنروح نكوركت الولد في القداس، يعني احنا
no. If they're running in the church, I think it's okay to say حبيبي.
لا حتى ده ما بنصلحوش. انا ما اقصدش ان انا هصلحه بصراحه. وانا واقفه في القداس ببقى بصلي، ما ببقاش يعني في بابا وماما واقفين they can just handle it. انا حاضره القداس ليا انا، حتى لو انا خادمه يعني مستفيده في القداس personally. انا بتكلم بعد كده في الكلاس بنبقى عايزين نمنشن او نحاول ان احنا نحط هايلايت على ان ده مش الطف حاجه في الكنيسه نعمل. فهل ناخدها مره بمره نصلح او نتكلم، ولا نعمل زي ما انت بتقولي نستنى ونعمل بعد كده درس؟ ايه تاثيره افضل على الاولاد؟ هو معظم الخدام واحنا ما فيش طبعا ييلينج، ما فيش حتى ما بينهمش زعلانين، احنا مبسوطين منكم anyway. بس انا بقول ايه الايديال في هل الدرس اللي هو يكفر الحاجه دي بعد كده، ولا ان احنا ناخدهم مثلا برايفت 1 on 1 ونتكلم ان ده ما كانش الطف حاجه؟ برضو دي نقطه مش عايزين نمنشن مين عمل ايه in public عشان ما يحسش ان هو عامل مشكله يعني.
Both. So, like I was saying, if they're running down the aisle, it's okay to say walk, don't run, right? Teachers do that in school all the time. Walking, no running, right? They say it's just a reminder. You're not yelling, you're not screaming, you're not saying why are you running instead of walking. You know that we're not shaming them. We're just reminding of the rules. Walking, no running, right? If they're in your classroom and they're jumping up and down and they want to say, remember, raise your hands, raise your hands. You just want to encourage the behavior you're looking for instead of correcting the wrong behavior, right? So just keep encouraging what you're looking for. I hear you, but I want to see the hands raised up, those that are sitting nicely and raising their hands, and then they know, oh, okay, I'm going to get called on if I just sit down and raise my hand, right? So encouraging the positive behavior. Then you want, if you notice that there's a consistent issue in your Sunday school class, absolutely make a whole lesson about it. Make them answer. What do you think about this? I know you guys like to do the puppets, and I think that's a great way to do that. Like, you can explore for different ages, movies or the puppet shows, give them different problems, and then ask them questions. What do you think of Johnny's behavior in this situation? And then it makes them think and apply and reinforces what you want them to do without shaming and making them look bad. And I always say, even if let's say واحد زعل منك for any reason in Sunday school, you're obviously your intention was not to make anyone upset, right? But we have a privilege that we can follow up with a visit at home and just make sure they're okay and just like, how's little Johnny doing after today's lesson? Are you okay? I just wanted to make, just check in and make sure they're good in the week. And kids are very resilient and forgiving, unlike adults. But it's nice to follow up with if you had to do a one-on-one correction. Does that help? Does that answer that question? Oh. Any other questions? Awesome. Oh, I thought I was done.
سؤال question.
So I believe we are working to get our best versions as a parents over here. Okay, so my question is, what I would choose to do it. So if it's about choice, I would choose to do it. Okay, but is it allowed to get like external help, like a therapist or something, to help me with? And when should I decide to go this way? Like what happens that makes me as a parent say, you know what, I'm not giving up, but I need help? Because sometimes people are going this way are so fast, and sometimes people are being so patient. So when should I say, I need to stop, I need help with this?
Very good question. The question was when to recognize that I need help as a parent from maybe a therapist or a parenting coach, and is that okay to accept that idea? I think our church is beautiful in that it sets up, you have counselors through abunas, right? And they know your families very well. And they know if you're struggling with a situation over and over again, you're talking to abuna, and he's giving advice and it's not working, then there's maybe something that I'm not aware of. That's where that therapist or parenting coach can help and say, you know, have you noticed that when your child raises their voice, you get scared? Why are you scared? Why do you back down? Maybe it's something in our childhood. Maybe we were yelled at and we don't know what to do with loud noises. That maybe I need to heal about something so I can properly raise my child. And that's why, if you remember Mariam, when she talked to us in November, she was talking about healing our own, childhood wounds so we can properly raise our children. And so sometimes it's just little tips and not even any like childhood problems that you had, that they can kind of guide you with a particular situation, especially if you're raising children who have autism or ADHD or some other specific thing, or have some disability. That could cause some different factors that play in parenting that I need to know how to tackle, right? So I think when I find that my method is not working, I try something else. If that's not working, I try something else. So look at the results, and then you and Abuna or you and your wife decide, okay, it's time to get some professional advice about this, and that's perfectly acceptable. Absolutely. Yeah, I hope that answers the question. Yes. Well, that's the bottom, this one. This is the one that is the most difficult of them all. This is the one that has no insight, no motivation to do anything different. The problem is the wife, the kids, everybody else, Abuna, the church, the work. They're going to have problems in every aspect of their life, and it's everybody else's fault. It's never their own. This is a problematic personality. They don't have friends. They don't have much family. They have to want to change, unfortunately. They have to want to change. It's the unfortunate, sad reality. I want them to, but I can't want to do it more than they want. I think prayer. That's all. Prayer is going to go a long way, but confronting people with this mentality, you're going to get into a battle. It's up, if you're willing to do it, how much you care about that person, how they're important to you, but you might find yourself in a struggle with them.
بعض الأولاد ساعات بيبقوا مثلا عايزين يتصاحبوا مع أولاد معينين، انا شايف ان مثلا كبيرنت ان الولد ده هيعلمه حاجات مش كويسه، او انا شايف ان ده ما ينفعش يبقى الكلوز فريند بتاعه او كده، او مثلا عايز يتصاحب على ناس اللي هم يعني جيز ومش عارف ايه وحاجات زي كده. هاو تو send the message for him، ازاي انا اوصل له المسج، او مثلا عايز يعمل سليب اوفر مع حد معين وانا كبيرنت شايف ان دون is not suitable for him or for this person.
Okay. You have, that's a good question, Abuna. And I think when it comes to sleepovers or friends and things, you have to decide what you want first as a parent. You have to be clear on how you feel about a sleepover. But you cannot go into a discussion with your child not knowing how you feel, because they're going to persuade you, and then when you decide it was a bad idea, it's harder to do damage control after it's already happened. So first decide what you want to do. Based on that, let's say you decide sleepovers are okay, but only on Friday night, so you have to go to church on Sunday, and if you don't go to church, then you don't have sleepovers, or whatever it is. Then you start setting rules, and the kids have to follow, and if they don't follow, they don't have a sleepover. That's it. If the decision is we don't have sleepovers in our house, then we don't have sleepovers in our house. That's the decision. Why? That's not what we have in our house. Maybe you decide they're welcome to spend the night at our house, but we can't go into others. Why? Because of X, Y, and Z. You already have the reasons why, and then you can talk to your child back and forth. It's unfair, it's no fun, everybody else is doing it, of course. But it's not the right thing for our family, and this is our rule and our decision. What was the other thought? مثلا if they have sleepovers but they have a son. Right? Maybe you don't want your daughter sleeping in a house that has older boys, right? So it just depends on your family's decision, and you stick to the course. That's it.
Sometimes I can agree for for my daughter or my son to make a sleepover with this person, but not with that person. So my child want to know why for this is okay and why for this is not.
So you have to be ready to explain that.
Yeah. So yani the reason that I can give to him maybe like what? Because sometimes I can't describe for him something, he can take it and يعني he don't know the exact meaning that I want to let him know. أو يعني مثلا هو ممكن يفكر إن أنا بعمل judgment، أو يفكر إن أنا بعمل شايف إن الناس دي مش كويسة، أو شايف، بس أنا يعني شايف إن هو ممكن ينضر من الحاجة.
So maybe it's not even a sleepover. Maybe it's this friend is bad news. This friend is, I'm concerned about this friend. I'm concerned for these reasons. I'm concerned this person will take you away from the church, take you away from your faith. Their priority is not the church and not the faith. Are you strong enough to bring them in, or do you think that they might pull you out? And you have these discussions with them. I'm concerned because I notice that they're not being very honest. I'm concerned because you can share your concerns depending on the age, of course.
إن أنا أقول له لا النقطة honest أو كذا، يعني أنا ممكن لما بقول له كده هو يعني بيفكر إن أنا لا أنت غلطان، أو لا أنت كده بتعمل judgment. لا يعني هل أكون صريح معاه في السبب؟
Yeah, I think you can be honest depending on the age, how honest and how transparent you want to be, just depending on their age. But it doesn't have to be judgmental. You can just say, I'm concerned about your friendship with this person because X, Y, and Z. I never see them in the church. Is this somebody that is going to bring you closer to God or take you away from God? And these are the things that you are asking without judging. Do you understand what I mean, Abuna? Yeah. So we're not saying this person is bad and there's no hope. We're saying, I'm concerned from what I saw. Do you think this is someone who will do A or who will do B? Who could do this or could do that? And let your child think about it for a little bit. I think the message should be اللي احنا بنحب كل واحد. We love everybody, yeah. And I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
يعني بيقول ان انا يعني كل حاجه كويسه ليا بس I can't agree for everything يعني.
Nobody's saying you have to agree. I have a friend who doesn't believe in God at all. Okay, that doesn't mean I'm gonna become like that person, right? But the child's age and maturity level and understanding plays a role, right? But I think more importantly is the question: why are they choosing these friends? We have to ask the why. We can't be focused on the what so much that we forget the why. What is the benefit of this relationship? And then we need to dig there. But the message that we shouldn't talk to someone because they're different in some way, I don't think that's a good message to send. We have to be careful. We should be loving and bringing God to everybody. Are you willing to bring Christ to others in all your relationships? That's the question you want. And focus on that. Focus on glorifying God in everything they do. Like make that the focus instead of the difference. And again, it depends on the age and situation because different ages are. What is mulhid? Atheist and doesn't believe in anything. But why he, like, the question why, maybe they enjoyed the same video game and they're really good at playing the video games together. Okay, like, you know, is there any harm in that? And then, you know, I think the question why is very important. Once we understand why, it can open a lot of doors to understand why the child chooses that direction. Exactly. They're going to go to college and they're going to, you know, in high school, it's everywhere, it's in school. So that's the best point right there. Am I afraid? What am I afraid of as a parent? Yes, but if he's متربي صح لا أو متربيين صح مش هي yeah yeah I was saying not everything needs an answer right now. It's okay to say, I'm not really sure, but can you give me some time أفكر وpray وأكلم أبونا ونرجع have this discussion again. And you do your research كمان ونيجي نتكلم. You're opening a door to communication and you're showing إن أنا مش بقول إن أنا فاهم كل حاجة بس أنا عاوز do better. عاوز أفهم. I'm not just trying to say no or لا أنا. You know, we say this to servants in Sunday school. When you don't know an answer, don't say the wrong one just to answer. Say, I don't know, but I'll give you the answer. And that is more admirable, and your kids will appreciate it even more. Okay. Okay. There you go. Yeah.
فبعد يومين ثلاثة بصيت قلت لها شوفي بقى ايه اللي حصل، كلهم كويسين، كان في واحدة بايظة، بصي عملت ايه في الباقي. I made it but ما كانش في حل تاني. ده خلاها مش تقتنع no but ابتدت تفكر. وكنت دايما بقول أنا I trust you but please think about it.
Yeah.
I trust you. وكان عيني، ودي كانت واخدت مدة كبيرة ان انا عيني عليها كتير جدا مع اصحابها. But when I give her the confidence that I trust your judgment, by the time she just return and back up and she come and tell you know mom, you was right. I said really what about? And but انا ما كنتش مفكرة كده ابدا. بس انتي ازاي وصلتي للنقطة دي؟ I make her feeling that she is the one who discover and decide to
You improve her self-esteem with her
Yeah.
decisions. Absolutely.
It took a lot of time, but you need to be patient. You need to keep communicate without pointed to this friend.
Yeah.
But you keep telling her. يعني أنا ما كنتش بتكلم كتير مع الفريند دول.
Yeah.
لأن كان في السكول كان الموضوع زيادة بس.
Yeah.
هي مع المدة ابتدت تفهم no those good those bad.
Yeah.
لو أنا مشيت مع الباد even I'm very good no الباقيين هيشوفوني
They
إيه.
will learn.
Yeah.
There are two types of children. One that you tell them, this is hot, be careful. هيقولوا okay, I'm going to come over here. I don't want to touch it. The other child, how hot is it? Right? They need to, ربنا خلقهم كده, okay? That's just how they are. And they learn from their mistakes. We have to support them when they fall, and we know this is their personality, so we will guide them, coach them through it. I'm that person. I need to know how hot it is, and then that's my personality, right? But you coach them, and it's okay. مش هيبقى أنت you didn't listen to me, so أنت مع نفسك. That's not going to work. That's not a healthy thing. But it's okay. You touch it. It's hot. Okay, now you know. So what did you learn? Okay, what's your game plan for next time? Very good. I'm glad you learned from your friend. I'm sorry it turned out that way. I know it hurts, but don't worry. You learned a lesson, and I'm sure you're going to make different decisions next time. You encourage, and we all make mistakes, right? But we want them to be accountable for their mistakes and to repent and confess for their mistake. That's the whole point of being kingdom focused, right? عشان ربنا He's forgiving أو رحنا له بس مش عاوزين نقول if you mess up ربنا مش هيكلمك أنت خلاص you're doomed. That's wrong. That's a wrong concept, right? We want them to work out their salvation. Okay. This says, I'm watching the meeting from home. Can you ask a question? My question is, what about when my child doesn't agree with my reasons when I don't allow them to go outside with their friends from school, especially when they don't have real friends from church? This is a problem, right? Because if your friends don't have a community of friends inside the church, they need friends. That's part of development. That's part of their growth. So if they can't find a friends within this circle, my question back would be, what are your reasons for them not to have friends from school? What are the grounds? It's hard to answer this question without knowing what your reasons are. Maybe I don't agree with your reasons either. Maybe your reasons are good. So what is the foundation of what's the principle of not having school friends? That they're not Egyptian? That they don't go to church? Are they Christ followers? Are they good kids? Are they playing activity, like maybe they're on the soccer team and they have something in common and they get along? So without more information, it's hard to answer this question. But if this person can give us more context, it would be helpful. Thank you. I tried to get you guys out before 3 o'clock. I was ready at 2:15. Any other questions? Any thoughts? I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
طب نقول أبانا الذي قبل ما نمشي؟ شايف الناس ابتدت تمشي. Name, name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, one God, Amen. Our Lord Jesus Christ, we thank you for this wonderful time. We thank you for your blessings that you give us in your life. We thank you for this wonderful families and your presence in our homes. We ask you to always be, to guide us through every step that we do in with ourselves, with our spouse, with our kids, and guide us through everything, that we are truly build a Christian homes, that you are present in every